We're excited to share with you what can often be the most important webinar you will attend this year, because the purpose of this webinar is really to set you up for success for all of next year. So it's an important one, and so we hope you'll benefit from the content that Leanne and I have put together. So the purpose of our webinar today, the theme is how to make next year extraordinary. So how can your next year be better than the current one? How can you build on it? Lots of good ideas and thoughts that we'll share. So some housekeeping tips just as we get underway is if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A panel on Zoom. You'll notice an icon there to access the Q&A panel. We look forward to your questions. As you know, one of the reasons we have our webinars is to answer your questions live. If there's a particular business challenge or opportunity you'd like to talk about, that's why Leanne and I are here, is to answer your questions in real time. So please take advantage of that Q&A panel throughout our session today. We'll have 3 specific times in which we'll monitor and provide feedback on your questions. But whenever a question comes to mind, please share it in the Q&A panel. And one of our team members, Sandra, will be monitoring that and will let us know when we have our Q&A sessions. And we look forward to answering your questions. And if you have some comments that you'd like to share with any of us, please select it for everyone in the chat area so that all of us can benefit from your comments. When you use the chat, please select everyone. And we thank you for your participation today. If you've joined us before, you're familiar with today's presentation team. I'm happy to be joined by Leanne Ballard. And the 2 of us today are looking forward to sharing some thoughts on this pivotal webinar, how you can set yourself up for success for the next year. So a little bit about us. I'll start. As you may know, I'm a CPA. I've been helping business owners and coaching business owners over the last 25 years, variety of industries and income levels, startups, mature businesses, those that are in between, unique problems, challenges, opportunities. And in every one of these situations, helping to build a framework for success for the business owner and their family. So that's what our firm is principally about, helping business owners grow. You'll see our mission statement. We know that all of you as business owners are hardworking entrepreneurs. We realize that we're small business owners ourselves, so we understand what you go through. And the purpose of our firm, our mission statement, we really try to have clarity, and it's to help you grow your business successfully and more profitably, so that at the end of the day, the outcome is something that you have as your vision, more time and money to spend on yourselves and your families. So that's our mission statement that we regularly review and focus on as an entire team. And as part of that firm focus, we've developed an ebook to help you as a small business owner take the next steps. How can you fast track your growth? What are some fundamental steps in what sequence? And how can a business advisor help you with those steps? So if you haven't already done so, at the end of our webinar, we invite you to download this ebook. We have other ebooks in our library that you will over time have the opportunity to benefit from. This one will be fundamental to helping you grow your business. So we invite you to download it after our webinar today. And Leanne, would you like to introduce your team that you're a part of?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, David. So I am the operations leader at Cloud Business Services. We are a team built of 3 ladies who are very focused on working with our clients and providing a long-term relationship for our clients and their needs. We are the Intuit Global Firm of the Future, as you can see on the screen there. Myself, I am the marketing specialist as well as client services. Sandra, who you'll meet later in the webinar, is payroll specialist and HST, and Tanya handles all of our high-end and diagnostics. So that's just a little bit about who we are.
Thank you, Leanne, for letting us know the good things happening at your firm. And so because Leanne's firm and our firm are on the same page about wanting to help small business owners, our two firms formed a strategic partnership where we work together, helping mutual clients get the most out of a business advisory relationship, getting the systems in place, the apps in place, the advice in place to help you as a small business owner grow. So that's why Leanne and I are here today, working together, hosting this webinar. So why have we been producing these webinars? And now it's been over a year that we have been in this process. So we really feel that these webinars help you as a business owner, because when you really think about it, starting and growing a business really is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. There's a series of steps that you need to follow, like a journey, a path. And when we think of any successful journey, there's typically three components involved. There's a clear destination. You know exactly where you want to go. Secondly, you have a map, some route that you can continue to refer to gauge your progress on your journey. And third, a guide is very helpful. Having someone who has gone through that journey before, they can certainly share with you valuable tips to help you be successful using that map, getting to your destination. So when you think of your business as a journey, then, as a small business owner, we invite you to ask these questions. What's your destination? We've talked about this over the last number of months, but where do you want to go with your business? Do you have a map? Do you have a pathway? A clear understanding of the sequence of steps to put in place so that you will get from where you are to where you want to be. And lastly, do you have a guide? Do you have someone who has traveled that path many times before, helping others use the map and reach their destination, who can help you, who can consult with you, help you understand the path, and be there with you every step of the way? So we invite you to think of, do you have a satisfying answer to those three questions in your business? If you don't, Leanne and I and our teams can help. And one way is through these webinars. So today, we take a look at three important questions. What is the vision for your business? How can next year bring you closer to that vision? And then what practical steps? We want things to be practical, don't we? We want to know how we can apply it. So how can each of us make our businesses next year extraordinary? What practical steps can we take? And we look forward to answering your questions live. So let's get started. So let's consider the first topic, the first section. What is the vision for your business? So do you know? Do you really have a vision for your business? Perhaps you just kind of got started. But have you taken the time to really design your business life? Do you plan, or do you simply react? Often when you plan, you can be more thoughtful, you can prepare, and you can be more successful than if you simply react to situations and opportunities that present themselves. So as a small business owner, how would you answer those two questions? Let's look at our next slide. So really, it all boils down to this. what do you want in your life? Because as a small business owner, you likely started your business to help you accomplish what you want in your life. So what is it you want in your life? Do you have a clear vision, a picture of what that looks like for you and your family? What would that mean for you and your family? Can you place yourself in that setting of receiving or ending at that journey, the destination for your business? What does that feel like? Or what do you want in your life? Have you taken the time to think about that? It's hugely important. Let's look at our next slide. Now, there's some reasons why people don't think or take the time to think about that question. Maybe you don't have a clear answer to what you really want in life because you haven't really thought about it. You weren't really sure you could want something and steer towards it. And maybe you thought you just had to take life as it came along and manage your business as best you could. And so that's sometimes why people really don't think about what they truly want in life and how their business can help them achieve that. Because they haven't really thought about it, taken the time. Some aren't sure what they want. Maybe they haven't really settled on that vision for their life. But you'll see as we consider this webinar, the more clarity you have on what that vision is, the more effective you'll be able to be to go from that vision to a plan. And you'll see that throughout our webinar today. Another reason why people don't ask the question what they want in life is they have so much happening in their life, they don't know what it is they want to give up. Because all of us are busy people when we really think about it. None of us likely have hours and hours a day of free time without anything that we feel is important filling that time. So if you're going to want to work on your business to help you reach your vision, it will likely mean adjusting your schedule, your priorities, what you're currently spending time and effort on. There'll be something you'll need to give up to make room for putting in place this vision and this plan. So we invite you as a small business owner. How would you answer this question? What do you want if you knew you could succeed? If you had the right advisors, if you had the right support system, if you had the right sounding boards and the tools and team, what would you want? So that's a very important question. So once you've determined that, once you have in your mind what that looks like, then it's really important to put it down on paper, to have a core purpose, your mission statement. What is that? It's not a mysterious thing. It's really putting down on paper what your target is. What's that destination in your business journey? You know, what's your core purpose? Why does your business exist? What do you want to do with your business? Not simply making money, but what's the benefit that you want to provide to the community in some way? Let's consider our next slide. So here's an example. This is what our firm came up with as a firm's mission statement. You notice it's only one sentence. And you notice it identifies very clearly who we're trying to help. We don't help all businesses. We're not helping billion-dollar companies. We have a niche. We have a customer set or space that we're wanting to help. Hardworking Canadian entrepreneurs. We don't help people around the world. We help people in Canada who are hardworking entrepreneurs and small business owners. And what are we trying to do? Help you grow business successfully, profitably. The outcome is mentioned here so that all of our clients, all of our customers have more time and money for themselves and their families. So that's a very clear vision statement, mission statement, core purpose that we have. And we invite you to have something similar. Let's look at our next slide. So we invite you then to consider, what's the vision for your business? Leanne, are there some thoughts here that you in your firm that you've thought of or that you've shared with clients to help them answer these questions?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, this is a great time of year to do it. People are already reflecting, right? You know, we're going into a holiday season. We're going into a time period where we want to spend more time with our families. And it's a reflecting on whether or not we're actually acting on that in our lives. And so one of the things that I would say as you're reflecting is to remember, as a small business owner, you are not meant to be everything to everyone. And that's something that so many small business owners fall into, that error. You don't have to be everything to everyone. It's okay to say no. So just something extra to consider as you're trying to determine and narrow down what you want your business to look like.
Very good. Thanks, Leanne. So, you know, another way of saying it is maybe you've heard of Simon Sinek. He's has a TEDx talk, and he has a book about finding your why. And it really helps you to do drill down to the core purpose, the essence of why your business exists and what you're helping to achieve. And as Leanne mentioned, that can really crystallize for you what products or services or role your business is going to have. So this is key. Let's consider our next slide. And so now we've given you food for thought, hopefully, with a series of questions to allow you to reflect and meditate on where you are, where you want to get to, having that core purpose. So we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have at this point.
David, there is no questions at this time, but with looking at a mission statement, is it something you should do early on in your business, or is it something that, like, even if you've owned a business for 10 years and now you're thinking about these things, that you could go ahead and start that mission statement at that point and kind of put that up on your website?
That's a good question. So you might illustrate it this way. If you're a hiker, do you know where you want to hike to? Or do you just want to explore nature and go wherever the wind takes you? Two different journeys. Clearly, the hiker that wants to get to a destination, the sooner he knows that destination, the sooner he knows his core purpose, the sooner he has that mission statement down, now he can focus all his time and energies constructively and specifically to support that target. So we would suggest the earlier you can do that, the better. Now, that doesn't mean that if you've been in business for some time and you haven't really written it down, that it's too late to do so. No, we invite you to start writing it down now, because that will help you and your team refocus as you're getting into the new year, and perhaps reimagine or re-engineer or rethink or reinvent as you go into the new year. How are you going to deliver your product and services to an ideal client? So it's never too late to do a mission statement, but the earlier you do it, the more benefit it'll be to your organization.
And can I add on to that? The other thing to consider, I mean, as you mentioned, David, is it will allow you to focus, and it's never too late to do it. It's also something that you may want to reflect on, whether or not, if you've already got one, if it still reflects best on your business, because our businesses are living, breathing, you know, in a way, organisms that do adjust and change. And so you can always go back and make tweaks to that as well.
That's an excellent point, Leanne. And so as you're going to see as we continue our webinar, we suggest that every December, you and your management team, or perhaps the entire company, come together to reflect on the mission statement. And maybe that will mean, as Leanne mentions, there'll be tweaks or adjustments or refinements to that vision statement so that everyone has even greater clarity for the new year, how to focus their time and efforts.
Great. Thank you, David and Leanne.
Thanks,
Okay,
Sandra.
very good. So let's take a look at our next area. How can next year bring you closer to your vision? So as we suggested, every December, it's good to put into your diary, into your calendar, perhaps it's a day, perhaps it's 2 half days, where you're going to have time to reflect along with your team, other members of your organization, on the current year and plan for the future. This is not something you can do in a moving subway or while you're in traffic with distractions on the highway. This is where you have that tranquil space. You carve it out. You're not answering your phones or checking your emails. You're reflecting. How did the last year go? What worked? What perhaps could have worked better? And plan for the future. And so that's why we're having this webinar in the month of December, because we feel it's the ideal time for you as a small business owner to set yourself up for success for the next year. And it's important not to just have these ideas that float in your mind, but actually have them written down, written goals, so that you have all the key ideas and parts of your plan for the next year planned out. They just won't happen by accident, but there'll be some sequence, deliberate, conscious approach to building out your next year. Now let's take a look at our next slide. So we invite you to celebrate your wins each year. You know, many firms will have a year-end get-together with their staff, where they'll celebrate all the good things they did together as a team. Some do it in November, December, January, February, some point around the end of the year where you can kind of think about all the good things that happened and feel good, because likely many good things did happen in your business. And that's why you're still in business. And that's why you have customers that appreciate what you do and staff that enjoy working in your business. So we invite you to celebrate your wins every year. Let's take a look at our next slide. So when it comes to analyzing what you accomplished in 2021 and what you can think about, Leanne, how can this chart help a small business owner as they're reflecting on their past year?
Yeah, well, and I mean, you've already been talking about it, David, about celebrating the wins. So by us actually detailing out what went well, what were successes for the small business, what can we be proud of, whether that's growth or client related, maybe it's awards that were given throughout the year to your small business, or maybe it's just changes that you made in procedures that you can say, this worked really well and it made us more productive as a team. How you achieved it is really important to look at as well. In our firm, we're very big on processes, you know, so it's important to look and see, how did we get there? And those processes, how can we either improve on or implement, you know, in maybe other areas of our business to further more wins in the coming year. So these are all things that we can review, because everything, you know, is an opportunity to learn from it and see where we can go from here.
I agree, Leanne. And you know, at our firm, we really have a model that lessons are gold. You know, when you actually do something and you learn something from it that will help you in the future, that's so valuable. So, you know, if we don't take the time to document what we learned, then sometimes we don't remember these lessons as quickly as we could if we had them documented, because we can apply the lessons we've learned to other parts of our business in the coming year. So thank you for that. Let's consider our next slide. So Leanne, why do you think small business owners that are attending our webinar should be looking at losses or thinking about disappointments? How would that be helpful to them?
Yeah, so it's along the same lines. I mean, we're still talking about lessons, right? And it's really, really valuable to see, okay, so it's hard to review, you know, those things that didn't go right, but we can learn so much. What went wrong? Why, you know, why are we upset over it? You know, what was the concern? You know, does it have to do with, you know, losing clients? Does it have to do with losing suppliers? There's a lot of things that we can lose in business that can affect our overall, you know, business goals. So if we lose something, you know, how can we protect ourselves in the future? What steps can we take? What sort of procedures can we put into place to close any gaps that there might be in our systems? So there's a lot there to learn from and to consider so that we can make the next year even better. And again, it's about closing those gaps, right? And not repeating. Lessons are valuable so long as we don't repeat the same mistakes again. So it's really, really important for us to review what those mistakes were in order to prevent them from happening in the future.
That's an excellent point. And, you know, we know the expression, learn from your mistakes. Why? Because the reality is we will all make them. Sometimes small, sometimes large, but we all make mistakes. The key is to learn from them so that we can continue to grow our business. So we will make mistakes as a team leader. Our team will make mistakes. The idea is to have that supportive environment where it's not a critical analysis, it's a curiosity analysis. It's to understand analysis so that we can all grow together. So this can be a very constructive experience. And I know that some business owners will say they learn more from their mistakes than they do from their successes. Because with a success, it's something they already knew. They're simply applying it. With something that didn't go well, now they've added a piece of knowledge to their skill set and they know how to take their business even further. So we invite you to do it. And as you notice here, with this chart form, there's a way of listing them. Doesn't necessarily mean it's 5, but it's good to consider what went well, what could have gone better, and learn from both. Let's look at our next slide. So why don't we achieve our goals? You know, maybe you had goals set up for 2021, and maybe you didn't achieve all of the goals you had set up. Why? Well, there's 3 principal reasons. One is they're not important enough. So perhaps, you know, you thought of joining a gym. That's a classic example, isn't it? Joining a gym because you want to build your body in a different way. Well, what happens often to that gym membership? Well, January might be good, February a couple of times, March, maybe you showed up, and then in April on, it's what gym membership? Right? Because now life has become busy. Well, the reason is that goal really wasn't important enough. Most often that's the cause. There were other goals that we viewed as more important for whatever reason. So if we're going to achieve a goal, we need to make sure it is important enough. And we need to have sound reasons for setting that goal, and we need to value it. A second is that we might have too many goals. Okay, so you can think of trying to spread yourself too thin, as the expression is, trying to accomplish too much. You know, maybe you've tried to juggle. One ball's pretty easy. A couple with 2 hands is pretty easy. Even some with very little practice can juggle 3. But then when you do 4, 5, 6, and 7, you know what's bound to happen, right? Other than the 2 balls that you catch, the other 5, if you're trying to juggle 7, don't get caught. So if you have too many goals, often you won't achieve most of them, sometimes any of them. The other reason why we don't achieve our goals sometimes is we don't have accountability. There's no one supporting us. We don't have someone, as you might call it, a cheering section. So think of a runner who's running out on his own in a marathon, and he's training. Well, what's stopping him from after 5 miles saying, you know what, that's enough for today? But imagine if he's running in a section where there's stands filled with cheering spectators. Do you think in that environment he's going to want to stop? No. In fact, he's going to be motivated to even do better. So as a small business owner, sometimes it's like that runner on that lonely road. You're by yourself. And you don't have a cheering section. So your partner, if you're large enough, do you have the other team members? Often you can have a business advisor, a business advisory team like Leanne and I provide to our business owners. So regardless of the size of the business, they have an accountability partner, someone that can help them, cheer them on, and connect with them to see how they're doing in a positive, constructive way. So think about that. Do you have an accountability system set up as you approach the next year that can help remind you, support you, encourage you in your goals? So far we've talked about setting up that vision, right? We've talked about your core purpose, your mission statement, what's the target? What are you hoping your business will achieve for you in your life? Where are you? Where do you want to go? So we've talked about that vision, the end of the rainbow, the end of the tunnel. Now, how do you get there? How can you set yourself up to make next year extraordinary? So Leanne and I are excited to share with you some ideas. So we really call it from vision to plan. So once you have your core purpose, your mission statement, you notice on the left-hand side, when you've got that vision clear, what you want your business to look like, now that drives your goals for the next year. Once you have your goal, it will drive your strategy, your medium-term goals, your short-term goals. What goes throughout the next year? What are stepping stones to help you get there? What are some mid-range, short-term goals? So what might you want to do in the first 3 months of next year? What might you want to achieve in the next 6 months of next year? Not waiting until the end of the year to see if you accomplished any goals. Once you have these goals, then it will drive a strategy, a way of you operating. What manpower and resources, what thinking, planning are you going to want to spend to see how you can achieve those milestones? So it's important, as you note here, to record challenges, and then how are you going to overcome those challenges so that you're going to reach that goal? Once you have that strategy in place, then that's going to help you reach your milestones. So milestones are things that are measurable, things that you can actually identify as progress. So what are those milestones? They're important for you to mark down where you are and where you want to be in 90 days. So we invite business owners to take their next year calendar and divide it into four 90-day increments. And over the next 90 days, the first 3 months of 2022, for example, what are you hoping to accomplish? What milestones do you want to achieve? And then once you identify the big ones, we call them the big rocks. Okay, there'll be lots of things you'll accomplish in the next 90 days of 2022, for example. The question is, what are the big rocks that will take a period of time to accomplish over the next 90 days in the next year? So what are you going to do over the next 90 days in those 3 30-day months, or in those 4 weeks of each month, or in each of those business working days of each week? That, see, now drives your daily activities. And that's how you're able to plan. As our chart says here, document the necessary actions for each one of those big rocks over 90 days. What you need to do in what sequence, who's going to do them, how much time do they need to do each piece, so you can kind of plan it out and achieve your rocks every 90 days. So this is the concept of from vision to plan. You have a vision for the next year, and then you have weekly to-dos throughout the year to accomplish that plan. That's the concept that we suggest you as a small business owner adopt to make next year extraordinary. Now, what does that mean? We're going to go through some of the steps. So, for example, here, Leanne, did you want to talk a little bit about this step about a vision? What might that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So as David mentioned, like as a real life example, you could set, a goal of on, this date, we've got December 31st, we could put 2022 in there. I want to achieve X number of clients. Maybe there's a dollar value. You can break that out however you want. Perhaps it's a new system or even a new product that you want to launch. There's a lot of things that you might want to do in your business. Breaking it down to each and every month. So dollar value is one of the easy ones. It's great. You want to set a $1 million goal in your business. That sounds wonderful, doesn't it? But the reality is, if you start with that goal in January without breaking the steps into smaller chunks, by December, you're going to wonder why you're so far away from it. You've got to break that down into smaller amounts of each and every month. And then recognizing, our business is recognized as, if that's another example of what you want in your business. David, this is just the vision part. So is there something else that you think of that somebody might have as a vision?
Yes, so that's very good. So you want to think about each and every month, we receive so many new customers or so many sales from so many customers as a target, or our business is recognized as the leader in, and then you fill in the blanks in your industry. What would that mean? What differentiates you? How can you be made top of mind in the minds of the marketplace? What would your business be recognized as? So maybe that's your overall vision, and we've shared some examples. If we look at the next slide, the goals that drive strategy. So now you document the goals. We have the overall vision. So we often suggest 1 year from now, 3 years from now, what are the number of customers? What on average are they contributing to your business? What is the proven system you have? That's an example of how you can document your goals. In our next slide, once you have those goals, it's good to ask yourself these questions. What do I want to achieve 3 years from now? What do I want to achieve 1 year from now? And here are examples. It could be 2022, 2024. It's good to have these goals, more than just 90 days, goals that are long-ranging that you're working towards. Then you have a strategy. So as we talked before, what are the key challenges for you to reach your goals? You can identify them and record them here. What are the challenges? And what activity will you undertake to meet that challenge? In our fourth one, milestones driving the plan, here's where you can start to measure. As Leanne mentioned, maybe it's number of customers. So if that's the key metric, well, what are your customers now? And in 90 days, what should they be? If you're on target, in 6 months, what should they be? And so on. Are you growing? Are you measuring your progress as milestones? And then finally, You may decide to graphically analyze it, see the trend. Is your business going in the right way? Maybe it's even ramping up as you build momentum throughout the year. And then as we take a look at our next slide, we talked about that weekly to-do list. So this is where you can list those actions, the ideas that you want to implement to help you reach those milestones and to make that strategy happen and to achieve that goal. This is a chart that can be very helpful to systemize your thought process. So in our next slide is the opportunity for you to share with us any thoughts you might have on what we've shared. What thoughts might be running through your mind as a small business owner on this process?
David, I would like to just ask, what would be the difference between a goal versus, say, a resolution?
Good question. In my mind, a goal is a target. A resolution could be similar. A goal often has a numeric component to it. A resolution maybe is just an attitude, but they could be connected. Leanne, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, to me, a resolution is something, an actionable, immediate change that I see. A goal, on the other hand, is something that you're working towards. So I could almost see, though, the two being paired. And, going even back to that last slide, is the resolution is the actions you're going to take in order to achieve your goal, right? So the goal is losing, I'm going to use, because it's New Year's, right? Everybody wants to lose weight come January, right? So the goal is losing X number of pounds. The action is working out 3 times a week. Like, that's kind of where I would see the difference between the two. But yeah, that's a great question.
Great.
Good example.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay, very good.
All right.
So let's now take a look at our next section. So, we've shared with you a lot of things you can do. We've talked about the importance of setting up your next year for success. And we've talked to you about vision, goals, strategy, milestones, and to-do list. So how do you put that all in place? How do you fill in all those blanks? What are you going to put on your charts? What are you going to put on your to-do list? What are your goals and milestones going to be? Well, what we've done is we've prepared a selection for you from many of the webinars that we've discussed over the last year. Each one of them could be a goal for you. So this is a bit of a year in review. We're going to take a look at some of these topics, and maybe you didn't join us for the particular one. Maybe you'd like to re-examine it again. And that's the benefit of the Learning Center on our website. You can revisit these webinars in the future. And Leanne and I are happy to give you information on how you can do that if you have questions. And so start to think about in your business, because you want your vision to be customized for you, where your business is right now. So think of some of these topics. We're just going to briefly mention them to give you momentary reminders about them. If you'd like more information, you can review the webinars that are on our Learning Center. But this is just a fly-through of some of these ideas that perhaps resonate with you, that yes, this is what we really need. This would really help move our business forward. And you can start to build that plan for the new year. So we're going to go through them briefly as to the topics that we've shared this year that are timeless and that are very valuable and practical. So Leanne, what did we talk about first?
Yeah, so we started off with why a cloud accounting system is key to your business. So we talked about how it's key to making effective business decisions. And we talked about how it helps you to overcome business challenges, as well as how the right team of accounting professionals can help you in your business. So that's where we started our year off.
Very good. So as a business owner, you can ask yourself, have you got that in place already? Maybe you want to add that, if you don't, onto your plan for the new year. Next, we talked about working with a trusted business advisor, how you can select them, how they can help you move your business from where it is to where you want it to be. So do you have one? Is that something that would be helpful for you as a vital key step on your journey next year? Next, we talked about a corporation, the many benefits it brings to your business. So do you have one? Perhaps that's a key step you want to put in place for the new year. Then we talked about a tax saving strategy. So are you working with a tax specialist who's helping you maximize all of the business deductions and save the greatest amount of tax both in your business and in your family? Perhaps that's a strategy session you need to schedule for the new year. We talked about achieving a business vision, your sources of revenue, targets for them, and how a business advisor can help you reach those revenue targets and build a plan, a forecast for the next year. Then we talked about strategic marketing. Leanne, what should business owners think about here?
Yeah, so we talked a lot about who is your ideal client and what do they want. It's really important that we're using our voice to talk to them. We want to attract our ideal client and we want systems to grow our business fast. So we discussed all of that in our strategic marketing webinar.
So we ask you as small business owners, do you have this clearly in place? Have you identified your ideal client to help you grow forward? Then we talked in the following webinar, social media strategies. Leanne, I know this is your specialty. What should business owners be thinking of here?
Yeah, so the whole reason why we have to identify our ideal client is because we need to know how to speak to them on social media channels. This is one of the most important places where we're reaching out to our community. So knowing what strategy is going to work for your business, choosing what platform is going to be a good fit. That's really important. It's better to do some that are going to work really well than try to do all of them and don't do it really well. And systemizing the process, because we all have limited time and we want to make it as efficient as possible. So definitely, something to look at your business and determine, have you reviewed what your social media strategy is?
Excellent. Then we considered apps, and we actually had 3 webinars on apps. So let's see the first one we talked about here. So we talked about Post a Plan. We'll just review these briefly. We talked about that as one of our apps. We talked about Calendly to help make it easier for you to schedule appointments with your customers and others outside your organization. Then we also talked about QuickBooks Online. We mentioned that earlier, how valuable that is in your back office and all the apps that can connect to it. Then we talked about other apps that can help save you time and money. So we looked at operational apps such as ClickUp. What might business owners think about in this area, Leanne?
Yeah, so operational, we're talking about task management, right? And making sure that we're tracking what we need to get done in a day and not having it all up in our heads, right? We like to do that as small business owners.
Very good. And then we talked about SharePoint, how you can collaborate in the cloud. So many of us are working remotely. We're not in the same physical office. So how can our systems keep humming? How can business keep going? We talked about how SharePoint can help. And then we talked about Dext. What should business owners think about here, Leanne?
Yeah, so Dax is how we keep track of all of our receipts. So really, really important. You're busy day to day, receipts get lost really easily. Having some sort of a system to snap a picture and get it into the system in real time is important so that, again, as a small business owner, you don't want to be worried about lost receipts or holding ideas up in your head. These are all apps that can help with that.
That's great. And then we took a look at 3 more apps. So we talked about how you can pay your suppliers efficiently, almost effortlessly, using an electronic means. We talked about an app for that and how that can help save you time and money. Then we talked about a marketing app, Flowdesk. Leanne, what should business owners be thinking about here?
Yeah, so back to the marketing, reaching out to that ideal client and staying in front of them and top of mind. So we used Flowdesk as our example for an email marketing system and a way for us to stay connected with our potential client.
Very good. And then we talked about having a roadmap to grow your business, how LivePlan is a software we particularly like in our firm to help with planning and forecasting, because it is good to look back, but it's so much more important to look forward. You know, you think of a vehicle of your car. How big is your front windshield and how big is your rear view mirror? Because where should the driver be focusing? Not 5 miles behind a stone he went over, but the cars in front of him, the road in front of him. So LivePlan helps you plan for the future. Where do you want to get to? So we talked about how this app with your business advisor can really be key for you. And so, you know, throughout 3 of our webinars, we talked about all of these apps you see here. Is there 1, 2, or 3 that over the next year you'd like to implement to build out your ideal tech stack? Maybe that goes on your plan for the coming year. Then we talked about when you get these systems in place, then how you can achieve having your business run without you and all the benefits that that brings. Where you aren't having to be 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, or even more in your business every week. How you can benefit and key steps to doing that. How you can look to what you want to do with your business and how that will help you. And then in our next slide, how it's important to start early, generally at least 2 years in advance of when you might want to pass your business on. So lots of things that you may want to add to your plan for the coming year. And so back to the steps to take, your vision to your plan. What is your vision? What are the goals? What will be the strategy to reach those goals? How will you measure the success of your strategy with milestones? And then how you will build up your weekly to-do list to help you reach those milestones. What will this look like for you? So what's next for you? Well, the answer is, where are you in your business journey? What do you already have in place? What would you like to accomplish next? What then are the key steps for your business from where you are to where you want to go? And so then what are you going to determine to be your big rocks? Those every 90-day goals, perhaps 4 of them in the coming year that you want to put in place, to plan for, to set your business up to be extraordinary next year. Those are questions for you. And now we invite your questions.
Hi, David and Leanne. There are no questions, but I would just like to thank you guys both for such valuable information that you've given to everybody and for doing these webinars. It's definitely been a pleasure.
Excellent. Well, we hope all of you who have attended have benefited from what we've shared. So what are the next steps? So if you've attended our webinars before, you're going to get a follow-up email with some options. Again, we invite you to download our ebook. You can perhaps even over some time off this month, read through it. Maybe you want to use the ebook in addition to this webinar to help you plan out your next year. We invite you to join our Facebook group where you can join other like-minded business owners who wanted to grow their business. You can communicate, collaborate with them. And we invite you to book a free discovery call. We can answer questions that you have on your mind that you perhaps didn't have a chance to offer or share today. Often you think about information and then a question comes to mind. We invite you to reach out to us. We'll be happy to connect and share with you some thoughts on how our two teams, Leanne's and ours, can work together to set your business up for success for our coming year. So we want to thank you for joining us. If you've been with us this particular year, you've benefited from 12 valuable, timely, timeless topics. And we hope that you will reflect on them. And as a thoughtful business leader for your business, whatever size it is, we know that you will take the steps needed to set your business up for success, to make next year an extraordinary year, the best year perhaps your business has ever had, if you put in place these strategies, these ideas, these suggestions that we have shared with you, either today or over the past year, as you set up your next year. Leanne and I want to wish you every success in your business journey. And it's our hope that your next year will be extraordinary. Leanne, any final thoughts?
Just that I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday and gets a little bit of rest and relaxation in there, because as small business owners, I know how hard you guys all work. So that's all.
Thank you, Leanne. And I echo those same sentiments. Have a well-rested and safe time until we connect again. And we look forward to having you join us in January as we consider topics that can help take your business to the next level. So bye for now, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.